Hi there, my name is Artem and I'm happy to be here talking to you about AI. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful event. Today I want to talk about AI from the perspective of no hype, just practically what can we do? What can we do today in order to make more money, save time, and improve our processes? So let's get started. But before we do, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I own an agency, right? And I do marketing, growth marketing for startups, for medium to large size companies all over the world. And I've been doing this for over 15 years, right? I have clients in Nordics, Europe, US, and so forth. And I've been working with companies like Ruka, Levi, Orca, Polar, and many others. And what's most important is that I've seen what works when it comes to AI, and even more importantly, I've seen what doesn't work. And I moved from Finland to Estonia in 2023, and I couldn't be more happy. So, let's start with a concrete example. I started a company with my friend in 2023, and we started an Airbnb company, and very quickly we realized that there is very little money to be made in Airbnb, and we shifted our focus to offering accommodation services to B2B companies, mostly construction companies. We had zero budget, we had no marketing team, we didn't have a salesperson, right? So we desperately were just needing leads, right? So I used AI to create a website, create translation of the website to English. I also used AI to do research, to create content, and to do SEO. Of course, AI only did maybe 60 to 80% of the work. I, of course, had to do quite a lot of work myself, but still, with AI, I was able to take a company that makes €0 to a company that makes 500,000 euros a year, right? So this is a very good example of AI helping you be faster, more agile, and to just increase velocity. In this company, I was only in charge of lead generation, right? And what was really interesting is that about 2 to 5% of our leads started coming from ChatGPT. So you will be seeing a lot more of this in your businesses as well, right? ChatGPT, or be it Gemini, Perplexity, whatever, they don't create a lot of traffic for your website, but usually people who come through ChatGPT are a lot more high quality, right? And people do a lot of researching inside AI tools, and then when they click on your link and go to your website, they kind of already know what they want, and they are more likely to make a decision. So that's why I value users who are coming through AI tools a lot more than traditional users coming, for example, through, organic SEO. But let's talk about the promise. So we all heard this, in the media. AI will transform everything. AI will 10x your productivity. AI will replace your entire team. Soon you will be able to do everything yourself and, with the help of AI. But unfortunately, that's not the truth. AI in its current state, and it's getting better and better all the time, right? The pace of innovation is just crazy, right? Just a few days ago, there was a new tool released called Claude bot, right? And people are just losing their minds over it, right? Because it's a more proactive AI that can completely control your computer, can write messages in Teams for you and so forth. So it feels like every day something new is coming up and everything is changing super quickly. But if you remove all the hype, in its current form, AI is not a true intelligence. It's a glorified autocomplete, right? And I'm simplifying this quite a lot. And it's a very good autocomplete, but Most importantly, it's good enough for most of the businesses. It's good enough to do 80% of business tasks, right? So this is just to kind of cool down a little bit the hype and to understand that we are not at the point of AGI, and AGI is artificial general intelligence. Basically what it means is that we are not at the point where we can replace humans, right? But we are at the point where we can start automating quite a lot of different business tasks. And about the reality. A lot of companies who get excited about AI and they buy into the hype and start integrating AI, they actually fail. And only 6% of businesses achieve meaningful business impact. Think about it, 6%. That's not a lot. And why do those AI projects fail? Well, in most of the cases, it's people and process problems. Lack of documentation, expectations management, lack of clear processes, and so forth, right? Only 20% are technology issues, and 10% AI model algorithm problems. So in most cases, if you integrate AI into your business, and if it fails, most likely it's because of people or process problems, right? So this is very good to keep in mind. And even though it feels like everybody and their grandmother is now using AI to do marketing, to create videos, to analyze data, still most of the companies, when it comes to AI adoption levels, they are at level 1, individual experimentation. It means that somebody at the company is testing, different AI tools. Maybe CEO of the company is doing some research using ChatGPT. Maybe creatives department or marketing department are generating some assets using AI and so forth. But there is no coherent strategy for AI inside the company, right? Second level, once you've passed individual experimentation, is having this attitude where you encourage use of AI, but it's very chaotic. And then only at the level 3 you start reaping really good benefits of using AI, right? You have process integration, and we will talk about this a bit later. And then 4th and 5th level is where you actually start integrating AI as part of your business core processes that yields the most results. So before you get excited about AI and start integrating it into your company processes, you have to think about what do you need to have in place before you can start bringing AI. And what you need is, unfortunately, very boring stuff. You need company strategy. You need to know what you're doing. You need to identify challenges, current challenges in your organization. Do you have enough people? Do you have enough money? Are there friction points in marketing? Is your customer experience and customer journey have been mapped out, and so forth? You have to have documented processes, right? Even like loosely, few bullet points, like this is how we manage bookings. This is how we refund our customers, right? Key processes in your business need to be documented. It doesn't have to be very heavy documentation. It could be just a few bullet points here and there. Marketing strategy, guidelines, all of it needs to be documented, right? And remember, you should start with a few bullet points. It doesn't have to be very heavy documentation, but the more documentation you have, the easier it will be for you to integrate AI and start reaping real benefits. Most importantly, you need to realize if you have chaos now, AI will give you more chaos. It will not necessarily help you. But I have a cure, of course, for those who are operating in a small company and don't have documented processes. There is, of course, a way for you to get started, right? So you don't have to do all this documentation work before you start reaping your first benefits of using AI. So this presentation has been structured into 3 parts: learn, build, and win, right? So let's dive into learn. So just like with any technology, adoption follows adoption curve, right? And currently we are crossing the chasm, and we are moving from early adopters to early majority. It means that when AI just became available, only very few people actually used it, right? And then it moved to early adopters, technical people mostly, right? And now it slowly moves to early majority, meaning that a lot of people will be using AI, not necessarily in a systematic, structured way, but a big part of majority will be using AI, right? And the winners, as we have seen with the internet, with crypto, the winners are not those who buy the most amount of AI tools. The winners are people and companies that invest heavily into learning, and not buying as much AI tools as possible, right? And this is where I want to focus for a while. You need to learn the basics of AI. And instead of giving you 200 different links saying do this, do this, do this, I will give you just one link. So there is a wonderful teacher that has a free course on Coursera that is named AI for Everyone. It will tell you actually what AI is, what are implications of using AI, impact on society, how you can leverage it in your business, and so forth. It will give you a very good kind of like bird's eye view as to where we are when it comes to AI. What is possible, what is not possible, what is coming soon, and how you can start leveraging it in your business from the strategy perspective, right? So very, very good course. It's only 6 hours, and I think more than 2 million people actually took this course, and it has amazing reviews, right? We don't have 6 hours here, unfortunately, but yeah, please just take this course. You're not gonna regret it. And another thing that I want to talk about is that everybody gets super excited about new AI tools. Oh, there is Claude bot, or there is new tool in Canva, or I don't know, Gemini has a new Canvas tool or whatever. But remember, you have access to enormous amount of AI tools, you just don't use them. Here are a few examples. Here is a concrete example of me using my Gmail account, clicking on AI and just asking, hey, regarding my presentation, how much time do I have? And now Gemini will just look at all of my emails and will give me straight answer. You can use this, for example, to say, hey, are there any clients I should follow up with, right? Are there any proposals that I have sent out and not received a reply, and so forth. There is a lot you can do. You can basically think about your email box as a huge data repository that you can actually leverage with AI. And before you probably couldn't, because just like me, you probably have 10,000 unread emails, right? So yeah, but AI makes it super easy to use and leverage in business. Then AI is now available in, for example, Google Spreadsheets, and Excel also has similar functionalities, so don't feel left out if you are using Microsoft Excel. But here, for example, in this Google Spreadsheet, I'm actually asking AI to do research for me regarding one Finnish company. I just asked it, hey, give me this company's financial information. Give me this company's CEO's name and give me his email, right? Basically, what I'm doing now is I am scouting for potential clients, and now it's easier than ever. Now you don't have to learn new tools. You can leverage existing tools because they have those wonderful AI capabilities, and you're probably not using them. So, before we move further, one very important thing is that in your organization you need an AI champion. I know it sounds a bit corny, right? AI champion. But basically it's a person who, as I mentioned before, AI is just moving at an incredible pace. Yesterday is very different compared to today because there are new tools, there are new models. It's just crazy. So you need somebody whose task is to make sure he's up to date, he understands what is happening when it comes to AI, what is possible, what tools are available, what concrete examples exist of companies leveraging AI tools in their business and so forth. Basically, he needs to be up to date when it comes to AI, right? And that person can either be you, if you want to invest in learning, that's great, that's wonderful, but you probably don't have time to read all the articles, follow interesting TikTok accounts about AI, and read about different benchmarks when it comes to AI models. So if you don't have that kind of person, or if you don't want to be that kind of person, you can get that person by just looking at your organization and seeing if somebody is already excited about AI, and just make it a more formal responsibility for that person to be our AI champion, right? Or you can hire somebody, part-time, few hours a month, just 2-3 hours a month. It doesn't have to be a huge financial commitment, right? It could be, 2-3 hours a month where you review your processes and think about how AI can be used to leverage, to create additional leverage for your business. So yeah, definitely. And I have been working with many companies as their AI champion, and I can tell you it works really well. You don't need to have somebody full-time. But let's get into the most important part, the build part, right? So once you understand the basics of AI, you have some processes documented, you basically have a good starting point, and you have a person in your company, be it internal, somebody, maybe a developer or a marketer, or maybe it's you if you wanted to invest in learning. Or maybe you hired somebody, right? You have an outside expert who is helping you here and there. So once you have everything you need to get started, now it's time to build. And this is super, super important. When it comes to return on investment, actually ROI comes from building systems, not from using tools. If your company goes out and buys, ChatGPT Pro that costs $200, dollars a month, it's not gonna make more money for your company. Companies that actually have seen real results, real return on investment, are companies that created systems where AI is a very important part of the system, but not the only part of the system. And system means AI, your tools or data, or both, plus a process. That's a system, right? So a system is something that runs without you, right? It watches, decides, acts, and this is where ROI lives, right? So a few examples. If you take AI on its own, it's useful, but it's not that useful, right? But if you take AI and connect it to your pricing system, now you have dynamic pricing. Now this is useful. You take AI and CRM system, right? And all the data that lives in your CRM. Now you have personalized emails. You take AI and financial data. Now you have insights. AI can tell you about your seasonality, it can tell you about your LTV, and so forth. You take AI and a booking system, and now you can create AI-powered booking agent that is 24/7 ready to talk to potential customers online. But systems don't have to be complex, right? Complexity, yes, I know there is so much going on, but you have to start very, very small. You have to take baby steps. It's not about taking huge leaps. It's about taking small steps, but constantly, right? So here is a very, very simple example. I went to Claude, right? I gave a little bit of information about my company and created a new project inside Claude. I have been lately preferring Claude to ChatGPT, if I'm completely honest, right? And once I gave it all the information, right, I asked it to do SEO analysis of the website, and I asked it to very quickly give me what I need to do, concrete steps, what I need to do in order to increase SEO visibility. And that's what it did. It showed me where I'm losing visibility for which keywords, right? What new pages I need to create, right? What new content I could potentially create, and so forth. And yeah, this is super useful. So a system doesn't have to work completely automatically. A system could be you doing something like this every single month, right? So for example, first Monday of every single month, you run this query and then you create a task list for your team, right? So a system could be assisted where it's manual, but it's AI assisted. Okay, and then what you can do is you can buy a system, right? If you don't want to build a system yourself, or you don't want to use assisted system where it's manual work plus AI, you can buy a system that already does what you want and doesn't require a lot of learning. So for example, you could do automated upselling, right? Which is super powerful. Everybody probably here in the audience is excited about AI, or maybe a little bit skeptical. And sure, you want to improve your processes, you want to, save time and money, but most importantly, the impact you're looking for is making more money, increasing your sales, because that's usually the number one priority of every single business. So there are tools like Upsell Guru and many others that use AI behind the scenes and allow you to do automated upselling. And there are a lot of companies that have increased their conversion rates, increased their average transaction value using these tools. So you have that. You can also integrate dynamic pricing. I think this is a wonderful way to increase sales without increasing additional capacity. So when I was, and this is actually a screenshot from PriceLabs when we were doing Airbnb on the side with my partner. So tools like PriceLabs can automatically track your competitors. They can track pricing of your competitors. They can track demand and so forth, and they can increase or decrease price within certain limits, right? Based on fluctuations in the market. This is a wonderful tool because now you have a tool that 24/7 is constantly adjusting pricing in order to make sure you're making the most amount of money possible. So this is dynamic pricing. This is one of the best ways to increase your revenue. And there are other tools like, for example, Manus. Manus is I think it's the best way to describe this is a tool that allows you to create agentic behavior when it comes to AI without really understanding what AI agents are. So in this example, I asked Manus, which you can try for free, to basically find me potential customers in Finland. I asked it, hey, find me tour agencies in Finland who already worked with Estonian companies, right? And get me their contact information, right? And there it is. Result is an Excel spreadsheet with all the data that I want. I could have taken it even further. I could have asked it, hey, prepare for every single potential lead, prepare a custom personalized email in Finnish that is hyper personalized for them so it doesn't feel like spam, right? And you can upload, for example, your brochure, your company presentation, and say like, hey, look at my presentations first so you understand what I'm trying to sell. So that's super. Another thing that a lot of companies don't really invest enough resources and time into is creating a knowledge base for your whole company, right? So in many cases, the information is scattered a little bit in Teams, a lot of it in email, some of it maybe in Slack if you're using Slack, maybe something on OneDrive or Google Drive. It's all kind of like, you know, a mess, to be honest. And especially this is true for smaller companies. For bigger companies and big chains, IT department might dictate that you only use Google Drive, you only use Slack, and you store information in a specific way. But when you're a smaller company and you're growing rapidly, you need a place where you put all of your documentation, right? And you need a tool that can be easily connected to many other tools like AI. And I think Notion is one of the best tools that I've seen. I use it myself personally. It's basically a database created for non-tech people. It's like Microsoft SharePoint if it wasn't, you know, bad in my opinion. So here I use Notion exclusively, and here I went to the AI box in Notion and I just said, hey, how many meetings did I have last week and how many tasks are scheduled for this week? And it was able to analyze all of my meetings because it knows it's connected to Google Calendar and I record my meetings and so forth. It knows how many meetings I had, with whom, what was discussed, and then it can tell me straight away, hey, this is what you promised to do this week, right? For these projects. I didn't want to scroll here and show actual tasks because they contain information about my clients, but this is super useful, right? Imagine if you could just ask Notion agent, hey, check my CRM and see if there are any interesting news about my clients in my CRM system that would warrant maybe me contacting them, right? Or you could say, hey, update my clients' financial information. If you work with, for example, tour agencies in Finland, for example, their financial information is matter of, you know, public info. So you could just ask AI, hey, just find out their latest financial information so you can see which of your customers, for example, grew in size, which could maybe create new opportunities for you. And again, in Notion, there is this agent that is able to fetch information from internet and put it in Notion in a way that is structured, right? So you could say, you could upload a PDF file and then you could ask Notion and say, hey, analyze those 10 PDF files that I have uploaded and summarize it in Estonian or something like that. It's super, super powerful. And remember, as I mentioned before, systems don't have to be very complex. Here I'm using N8N, which is a platform that allows you to automate tasks, you know, business tasks, marketing tasks, whatever. And they have this wonderful create automation using prompts. And here in the prompt, I'm just writing, hey, create automation where AI automatically answers Google Maps reviews, right? It, you know, thanks people for positive reviews. And if there is a negative review, it automatically sends an SMS to my manager. So let's forward a bit. And here it is. It created the automation in a few minutes. And now I just have to fill in the information and I'm pretty much done. And if this feels like, hey, this is way too complex, looks scary, well, you don't have to do it yourself. You can hire somebody to do this, and it will take them maybe 30 minutes to set up. So yeah, it's not going to be very expensive. And what if you had AI concierge, right? What if you had somebody who is able to receive phone calls, who is always available on the website through a chat box, right? And most importantly, he can serve people in 35 languages. He is directly connected to a booking system, and he can create bookings, he can update bookings, he can tell people about benefits of staying with us, and so forth. Well, this is actually very easy to do. What I did here, and you can test this, already you can scan QR code and you will see I created basically an AI bot that was trained on my presentation data, and you can ask it anything about my presentation and it will answer you. It has a very, very good capabilities. It's able to speak in 3 languages, but of course I could have added all the languages that are supported by ElevenLabs that I used to create this. And you can integrate it in a few minutes to your website, and you can even connect it to a phone system so it will actually answer phone calls. And again, I created this bot using ElevenLabs in 15 minutes. What is wonderful about AI now is there are so many tools that remove that barrier that was previously too high for a lot of people, right? Because it required technical knowledge and so forth. Here, using ElevenLabs, few clicks, I was able to make this agent. And yeah, I even gave it a very cute Estonian accent. So if you test it, and if you use voice mode, you will see it has a very, very cute Estonian accent. So when it comes to building a system, you have 3 options. Assisted approach, where you have a manual task that is assisted by AI, right? An example would be SEO review that I have shown you. You have a bot system. You just go out and you buy a system that already works, right? You don't have to design anything. You just plug in and go. Like PriceLabs can be connected directly to Airbnb and Booking.com, and boom, you have dynamic pricing engine. Or you can build your own system, and that means you leverage tools like Zapier, NIDAN, Claude, and so forth. And this requires somebody who is a little bit more technical, or you have to learn it yourself. But again, I think in most cases it would be just easier to hire an outside consultant to just do the work for you. And now, when we have a system in place, right? Now we can start winning. So here are a few case studies where you can see real results from small to medium-sized companies when they started leveraging AI. So in this case, an outcome is close to 30% more revenue and quite a lot of time saved using dynamic pricing. I don't know how you manage pricing currently in your company, but I think this, when done manually, requires quite a lot of time to research and so forth, and just implement the change. So yeah, dynamic pricing is very much a low-hanging fruit. And in this case, multilingual concierge, like the one I created, right, allowed company to save 7,000 hours annually. Imagine, yeah, that's crazy. And you can create that concierge and connect it to your systems very, very easily. And another one, again, a boutique hotel, right? What they did is they started upselling services to people arriving to their hotel using Orca, right? And you know that upselling is super important in this industry because it's very hard to increase capacity, right? If you have 20 rooms, you have 20 rooms, right? So it's very important that you sell as much as you can to every single guests that you have. So you can actually automate upselling, and it makes it easier for your reception employees, right? Because they don't have to be pushy. And usually it can actually result in higher conversion rate compared to traditional upselling during registration and so forth, or check-in. And here is another option, AI chatbot that can handle bookings. Again, similar to the AI concierge that I mentioned in previous example, and the one that you can demo yourself. So in this case, it actually generated quite a lot of bookings. So people felt very comfortable talking to chatbot and just booking directly through chatbot. And remember, chatbots can work on your website, in WhatsApp, they can receive phone calls. It's not anymore just a small kind of stupid little box on your website. It's actually super, super user-friendly, and some people, potentially younger people, actually prefer it. And yeah, I think we came to an end of my presentation. I have gathered a lot of additional material for you. All the tools that I mentioned can be found here by scanning this QR code. There is a lot more information. This video is available there. All the tools mentioned is there. I have added also some really cool ChatGPT prompts you can start using today, right? So yeah, definitely scan the QR code and maybe put it in your bookmarks and come back to it later. Yeah, thank you so much. And again, thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm excited to learn more about what you can do with AI. And again, as I mentioned before, you don't have to have everything ready to go. You don't have to document every single process and do this enormous amount of work before you can start leveraging AI. Start small. Document one process and then start adding AI to it. Very simple example. Let's say you want to create content on your website in multiple languages and you don't know how. So now you can go and just start typing, how do you create content on your website currently, right? What do you do? How do you do it? How long it takes you, and so forth. And then you can use ChatGPT, put it in deep research mode and say, hey, how can I use AI to improve this process? What AI tools are available? And my technical level is, this and this. So pick tools that would suit my level of technical understanding. And that's how you get started. I know it doesn't sound very fancy, but this is how you create systems that deliver real results. And that's what we all want. We want to make more money, save money, and we want to improve our processes. Thank you so much for having me. Have a wonderful, wonderful event. Thank you. Bye.